Oh my god. I normally don't make these types of videos, but I just read the patch notes. And this. I'm probably known for complaining about patches and saying that they suck, but this one is not one that sucks. This is one that's legitimately nearly a the most game-changing, relevant changes I've seen in a long time. So I want to go over them quickly, but I want to skip over the boring stuff. Hell Ladies, a pretty big deal. Destroying max HP, so those units like Camilla and Reyna are going to be easily dispatched, much easier dispatched as reducing their passives by a single target damage dealer. Big deal right there, destroying HP, a large chunk of it in one ability quick, something that Destroy Runes don't do. Obviously that's relevant. Capture, not so relevant so much. Things that are complained about this ability is that with damage reducers like Darien or Diaz, you can't really assassinate a water unit like Reyna or Camilla. I mean, good luck assassinating Camilla in general anyway, but you still can't do it, and it just kind of like created an ignore resistance effect if the unit's below 30 HP when you're done with it, I'm pretty sure. That's what it means. Kind of cool for aerial, I guess. Kind of not really important at all for anything else ever. Dark, whatever. Nobody has this unit. Anyway, but whatever. Additional effect makes the revived ally invincible for one turn. That's okay. I mean, I've seen this unit a few times, only pretty much from Scav Fetus on his defense, and it doesn't really, I don't know. Zeros answers this unit, but so does Lucian. So this unit's pretty risky to use anyway in the first place, so if it ever does revive, you kind of fucked up, or everything's already almost dead, so I don't really think that's big of a deal. I'm not even going to look at the Serpents. I'm not even going to waste your time. Samurais. Sword of the Supreme Skywolf. We were just talking about this in Discord a little bit off stream, off camera, or whatever. Me, Nick, Degree Controlling, and a few others. But we're kind of confused on how it's going to be activated. It says when Sword of the Supreme Skywolf is activated. I don't know if that means used, or if it means right when you use a first, second, or third ability, when it procs. Doesn't matter. Nonetheless, Sword of the Supreme Skywolf got 12% damage increase. That is a direct increase to Light and Dark Samurais, who are highly meta relevant units, which is exactly the kind of thing that makes me make a video about a change in the game. Is when you change the game and you change units that are relevant and meaningful, or you make a unit relevant or meaningful, which is why I hated the last two patches, and I complained because they were complete garbage. But these changing units that are already decent and making them better is going to be like something that people want to see. People might want to go out, come back, and bust out that unit from storage that they, barely deemed not as good as their, Teshar or Zeros or whatever they're actually using instead. Really cool to see that. Beast Hunters, I'm not even going to waste your time. Fire Chimera seemed to be controversial when we were talking about it, but with the attack bar decrease and the attack speed slow, Nick the Greek brought it to my attention because he owns one as well. It's going to be a Chastoon killer. I agree, but at the same time, Guild Wars only unit. I just don't see it anywhere else ever. I doubt you'll want to put this on defense in Arena. Even in a tank meta like this. Like, if it is a tank meta, stall meta, doesn't matter. They also removed Chimera's Awakened Resistance. So, if you put Will Runes on it, it's going to be easier dispelled, easier defense broken, so easier to be speed cleared. Also, the low base stats on the speed not really helping it out to stop it from being speed cleared. Being a tank in this game doesn't really mean anything unless you can damage decrease, because there's so much damage that can be put out at one time. Tanks can be assassinated unless you're reducing damage somehow, outside of the fact whether it be like a glance or like a direct damage reduction like Camilla or Darien, where Darien is multiplying somebody's HP by 15% and they live by a little bit. You know, let's say like Darien and Ramagos, Perna hits a Ramagos, and because of the 15% extra HP, it barely lives and comes back and clean shots you or something like that. Like, that's relevant tanks. But I don't think that Chimera's going to be one of those, a relevant tank. He's mostly just probably going to live like one turn without a damage dealer, so it's not really a big deal. Not really a big change. But this Wind Chimera Lightning Strike, pretty big deal, but most of the time you're honestly just kind of using Squall, and then your other units kind of clean up. Because he's stunning, more likely now, you might actually find yourself using him as like, you know, a Tyrone except a damage dealer at the same time. Just meaning to like come out and stun your whole team. Maybe that will be an aerial killer, so then there's no like rebuttal on a aerial barely living. Be kind of cool. I don't really care about this light Chimera change. It's okay, but it's a pretty rare unit. Not really that big of a change, really. It's okay. The attack bar increase is probably the biggest part of that, but it's not really that fast of a unit, I'm pretty sure, if I recall. What I'm really excited to go over is the Occult Girls. I fucking cannot believe this. Occult Girls have been like a huge topic recently. Really, really big topic recently, especially since like, I don't know, everybody started pulling one. Like, Scout just got a fire one. I just got a wind one not too long ago. Everybody's talking about like how bad the water one is, people sacking it. I've been talking about Occult Girls a lot. Seeing them buffed is like, wow. Because I was always saying they're just barely underwhelming, but I still use them because they're good. They were good before, and now that's exactly what I want to say is something that's good before in meta, usable and workable. When you make it even better, that's really exciting for the game because that brings out units that are just like barely not like the best. And if you're bringing them up to par with the best, then you can actually see them compete with the best. And even if some people are just overwhelmingly out-runing on these units, like I'm putting real big overhaul runes on my Occult Girls, on my Wind Occult Girl, and I'm just like barely using her in like a small niche situation where I need damage and I need gauge reduction. So then I can, you know, finish everybody off in one turn instead. Like, this increase in gauge reduction is huge. 45%, up from 30%. 3 attempts, multi-hits. Multi-hits counter Nemesis. Multi-hits counter Resistance. Because multiple attempts going out means that it's going to probably land. You know, you're going to get that gauge reduction, which is huge. Absolutely huge. It's not like Poseidon where it might, you know, glance might miss. I've been using Rika and Galleon, or not Rika and Galleon, but Charlotte and Galleon a lot to counter mollies when I can't just Lucian them. Fire Occult Girl Rika is going to be a TOA god. I can't believe what they did to this. This is insane. I seen in my Discord chat somebody said that, oh, they can't wait to build theirs Despair now. I think Despair is okay, but I really think that I would want to see some people run this as Violent. She's one of those units that just goes crazy off, and if you can keep reducing your Fire Guardian Angel's cooldown with Violent and auto attack, you can just keep applying dots. It'll be like a crazy good Beretta. And then with Spot CC with the sleeps as well. So whatever you don't stun with your second ability, you can pick up with your auto attack sometimes on Violent procs, which Violent proc you another turn, which could in turn mean more dots on the whole enemy team. Gives you a lot of control and a lot of team protection. I really can't wait to see what people can do with that. That's going to be absolutely amazing. Water Occult Girl, slight buff on attack power break. Not really a big deal. Water and Dark, their heal got buffed too. All around buff for all the cult girls. They all got buffed. Almost all of their abilities, except the AoE stun. Not a big deal though. AoE stun's just kind of like extra. You skip the living armors, not really anything special. Water Monkey King, big deal. Relevant unit. People want it to be good. People like it. People talk about it. Very high PR unit, like in the public eye all the time. Second ability was one of my biggest pet peeves about this unit, is that it just is useless. I mean, it's almost better to auto attack 99% of the time, because the second ability literally is not all or nothing. It's like more about nothing than anything at all, ever. But 100% chance to reduce the attack gauge is pretty big. Like, being able to do that means like it just adds so much security, peace of mind. So instead of it being like all or nothing, because it's clearly not all or nothing, even with this buff, it's more like, you know, sometimes it's something. And then other times it's nothing, where it does like really low damage. You'd rather have the stun almost in all scenarios, and the single target increased damage, because the single target damage does a lot more, and creates like the assassination pressure that the Water Monkey King is kind of known for. I mean, his third ability. Also, his passive stats, his built-in stats got changed to be an attack-type unit instead, which is insane. I'm already using him in Guild Wars, and he's dealing like anywhere from like 35 to 50,000 damage depending on your defense, and that's an absurd amount of damage. They're increasing his base attack power and increasing his second ability's chance. Be a pretty cool unit, maybe even usable in Arena when you're talking about assassinating a single tank that you might need to get rid of right away. I've also had times where I've killed like a Zeros straight up just with third ability and power buff, no defense break. It's pretty cool. These other two Monkey Kings, Light and Dark, I mean, they're cool. Nothing really worth talking about though. Just gonna skip through like all of this. Minotaur's not worth talking about. Cobalt Bomber, Wind Cobalt Bomber in second, but they're not really worth talking about. But this Electric Bomb came up. Electric Bomb is not going to work on passives. You might be able to kill Theo, you might be able to kill Perna if you combo a Wind Cobalt Bomber first, depending on how lucky you're feeling. These fairies full hovels, nothing really interesting there. None of this is going to be meta. None of this, like when I'm skipping things, I'm clearly skipping them because they are not going to change end game arena. My stream, my YouTube channel, I've never really been something that's kind of like, you know, focused on beginning content. I only make beginner content kind of stuff to guide you guys, help you out, and I'll clearly label it. But all that stuff, it's not going to change my game, so I'm not really interested in talking about it right now. But I just recently summoned a Fire Polar Queen on stream the other week, and Aura of Dawn, getting buffed by a turn, not really impactful. But one thing I did say after I summoned her is like, I made a joke about her Touch of Mercy. It will no longer remove stun and freeze effects. I made a joke about her, like, I'm like, I can't even use her with Praha, because like when Praha stuns somebody and protects my team, what if she Touch of Mercies it and then dispels their stun and like the despair proc, and then comes back and wipes my team because I dispelled them? I joked about it literally just like when I summoned her like a week or two ago or whatever, and now that's fixed. That's kind of cool. Maybe I'll try her out, but I did try her out last week. She looked really bad. Elven Rangers, whatever. Sylphids, legitimately whatever. The only one that matters is right about here. Additional effect removes all harmful effects on all allies. You know, this passive can be cooled down, Zerost, so every defense I've seen that uses one of these is just like, you're missing a unit because you use a Fire Sylphid, so you can, they can 3-man you. And what happens when they can 3-man you can bring whatever they want on the 4th man, and that's typically going to be Zeros, and they're going to cool down your Fire Sylphid. They're going to sacrifice Zeros' life in order to remove this sacrifice passive, and then even if Zeros dies to your triple Camilla or triple Reyna or whatever you have as 3 water units, it doesn't really matter because the other 3 units are there to deal with those, and the Zeros is there just to add some damage and potentially cool everybody down. So in the stall meta with this, it's not really going to matter. I don't really foresee this getting legend anytime soon, as she hasn't gotten legend. I guess she probably won't. She might be in G3, though, with this added effect. I would assume potentially mid-range and low G3. Unless somebody forces it onto, like, legend contention. Somebody could force it onto a defense. Like, put it on with some of the best ruined units and still potentially get legend with it. But those are boring units, not gonna lie. Acacia got buffed. She needs more than that. She's Acacia, yeah, Assassins. This one's really big. This one's one I really like because I was kind of poking fun at them for a while. I can't believe that the water one got another buff, another double buff too. Auto attack got increased. Whatever. Death's Verdict. The brand got increased to 75%. Skill up is 25% chance on this. That's huge. This is going to be a 100% branding unit. This is now... Not only was this already being used, this unit, now it's even better. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. 4% damage increase on the Wind Assassin. Oh well, whatever. It was already killing things. Nobody really cares. Big deal for me, because I use it all the time. Water Phantom Thief. It's going to be kind of like Katarina on second ability. Oh, I know I scared you, but in a good way. They're increasing the chance that it slows you, and then splits up the attacks on the enemy. So instead of it like just kind of like assassinating somebody potentially, because it kind of does relatively low damage anyway. Like the highs that I see on Phantom Thief are like 8k on that second ability. So it's not really that big of a deal that they split it up. It's actually probably better because it's slowing down potentially the whole team now. Because this is usually when there's only like 2 or 3 units, or maybe even 1 unit alive anyway when you do use it with no rest. And the damage is getting increased by 20%. So you're going to see it hit a pretty decent chunk on units now. So if there is 1 unit alive now, it's going to abolish it. And in Guild Wars, it's going to be amazing as well. Decent buff for Guild Wars. Not too much, but the damage increase is a pretty big deal. Crime Alert got reduced. I can't tell you how many times I've been like 1 turn away from just like decreasing their gauge and whatever, winning, or a unit dies like 1 turn soon because I don't have Crime Alert yet. That happened a lot. White Phantom Thief, really uninteresting. Meh. Balances HP. Okay, cool. That's okay. Dark Phantom Thief, huge buff. Crit rate. To a lot of newer players, they might think that crit rate is a really big essential part of their runing, but to late game players like myself, crit rate is nearly redundant because we have 1,000,000+ runes. I mean, it's rare to get like 1,000,000+ runes that are perfect on crit rate, but I can easily get my 70% crit rate and a crit rate buff, no problem, anytime I want to. But adding crit damage is insane. That's just a game changer. As I've said 1 billion times on my stream, and hopefully you guys all know, crit damage is a game changer. Crit damage tower is a game changer. When you get this shit, when you get a small amount of crit damage, it completely can change the way you build your unit. 50% extra crit damage might mean that you never build crit damage 4 slot on the Dark Phantom Thief again because of relativity on damage multipliers. So you most of the time be running crit rate, or you'll be running attack 4 slots on the Dark Phantom Thief. Yeah, I said attack 4 slot, and it might be better. Run your numbers yourself and see what works best for your set. Don't take my word on it because your set might be really jacked up and really different, but any of my sets that I would be throwing on a Dark Phantom Thief, I would be running crit rate or attack on 4 slot because I want that damage. Dispellers got buffed. Purely dungeon-based thing for PvE. It's mostly probably for HOHs because HOHs are so annoying when your Dispeller doesn't dispel when they put buffs up, and he dispels like on round 1. It's a cool buff. I don't really care though. I'd kind of just work around that all the time anyway. Description, modification, nobody cares. Some skill errors have been fixed. Nobody really cares about any of this. I mean, it's okay. Whatever. The stat changes are big. Light and fire stat changes. Instead of resistance, they now awaken their accuracy. Amazing. Skill level of some monsters have changed. Cool for the light chimera. Like I said, whatever. Stats of monsters have been changed. The monster type has been changed from support to attack on the light chimera. This is big. Base stats are literally like the house of your unit. And like it's like the base of your unit, you know, like the base is going to control everything that you can build on it. Everything that you build on it is multiplied. The size of your house gets multiplied based off your base. So large. So heavily. I can't tell you how important it is to have the correct base stats on a unit that is supposed to be dealing damage. These two units are probably going to be ultra relevant now. It's going to be cool to see the light and the water monkey king. Light chimera and water monkey king used. But that actually concludes it. I hope you guys like this episode. I'll probably try to do this more as I see fit. If Come To Us keeps doing awesome patches like this where it's like, hello? Come on? I mean, this is what I want to see. Like, I don't care what happens to any specific units at all, but like if the general thing of the game is buffing relevant units that are just barely not great into being great units, that's going to be amazing for us. And then when you're starting to take useless units and creating them into relevancy, that's going to be great for everybody. We're not going to have this giant storage filled up with, like, you know, water, or like a wind pirate captain and like this or that or the other thing, just a bunch of crap. You know, we're going to have units that we're busting out of storage, and that's what we all want to do. We all want to go to our dusty old storage units and bust off that amazing new unit that sucked last week, and now it's great. But I hope I brought you guys some information with this. Have a good one. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm out. Peace.